Greetings and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I am Dr. Carlia East, and get ready to sip, savor, and elevate your minds. I've got the wisdom, you bring the wine. So let's go ahead and get this started. So, my question that I got from the audience this week is, how do I bounce back from setbacks and stay resilient when life throws curveballs? Y'all went deep. Y'all be going deep on these questions. Okay, how do I bounce back from setbacks? It's like a two-part question. And stay resilient when life throws me curveballs. Well, first of all, let's start with number one. You got to acknowledge the shit. You have to acknowledge your setback in the first place. I tell people all the time, in order for you to feel, you have to deal. People think it's the opposite way. They think that they feel something and then they start dealing with it. That's really not how it works. You deal with your shit first, because when you're dealing with something, you're looking for answers, you're searching, you're finding conclusions, you're lifting up rocks, you're doing the things that you need to do. And then when you do all of that, there are things that become exposed, things that become more of a reality. The rose-colored glasses are removed and the veil is now removed and the shit is in your face. And so at that point, that's when you really start feeling, because you start saying, holy shit, like all this stuff is going on. I didn't even know this was under the surface. So you have to acknowledge that you've had a setback in the first place. And it's important for you to process it, deal with it, and then be able to move forward. But you have to acknowledge that you have it. Also acknowledge that setbacks are necessary for comebacks, or setbacks are necessary to set us up for our next task, our next journey, our next goal. And so understanding that there is an opportunity in the pause is necessary, right? So you have acknowledgement. Secondly, as you begin to process and kind of move forward, the processing is about thinking how you got to your setback, how you got to that thing that caused you not to be on target. When you start processing and thinking about the steps that you took to get there, then you're able to look at, what do I need to correct, right? Should I have been more stern here, more lenient here? Should I have set better boundaries here? Should I have executed more quickly here? When we don't go back and retrace our steps, we allow ourselves to just learn the loss and then keep moving. But we need to learn from the loss in order to keep growing. And so it's necessary that you look back and reflect on the steps that you took in order to get to where you are, to get to the setback, so you can see how you set it up. And then you're able to set things up differently. You're also able to put in your mental set what you can and can't control, because part of the setbacks are things that are not in your purview, right? When we are doing things and putting our energy out in the world, we do have to recognize that there's other energies that are out there too. And if they don't coincide with ours, or they outrank ours, we're going to get the L on that, right? And y'all know how I feel about L's, W's. So let go of what you can't control in that process. Identify the things that you can't control, because then you can plan better to navigate around them. Okay. And then that helps you to kind of, when you're rebuilding, rebuild your focus. That's where resiliency comes in. Resiliency is not about just, I got hit and I got back up. I got hit again and I got back up. That's not being resilient. At some point, that's being a damn fool, because you just go keep letting somebody just knock your ass out and you keep getting up. At some point, that resilient person says, let me move out the way and not keep getting hit. Right? That's what resilience is. So it's not about just taking it. It's about realizing that, something's coming. Let me move out of the way of the shit. Okay? So that's what it's really about. Third thing you want to do is reframe what you've learned. Y'all know I use the word reframe all the time. Reframing is about you taking one position that you have mentally about something and then reframing it, twisting it, turning it a little bit to look at it through a different lens. And so you can look at your loss, like I've talked about, and turn those L's into wins. And you can look at the setback and turn that into a comeback. It's all about how you look at it. Yes, you were set back, but what is this setback preparing you for? What have you learned through this setback, so that when you come up the next time, you got better purview as to what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it? We got to stop looking at ourselves as failures and putting the big F on our paper just because we're taking a P, which is a pause. Okay? If you take a pause at something, that means you're recognizing that shit ain't been working out on this side. I need to pause for a second, re-strategize what it is I'm doing, look at what didn't work, do some research and find some shit that's going to work better, and then move forward. That's what that's about. See, sometimes we want to move on our time, and that's not the way life is designed. but it is designed for us to do the work. And so even when there's a pause, use that as an opportunity to secure your passion, because now you're given that time to refocus your energy. Okay. So I hope those 3 things have been helpful. Remember, when life throws you setbacks and you're trying to maintain resiliency, number 1, you got to acknowledge the shit. Number 2, you got to focus on the fact that you can't control everything and retrace your steps. And number 3, you got to reframe your lessons. Okay. So I hope that this helps you all who are dealing with some L's, who are dealing with some pivots, who are dealing with some setbacks right now. And I know it's, the early season, and sometimes we feel like this is a season of rebirth, but sometimes we got to go back and redo some shit, right? Because we didn't learn what we needed to last year. It is what it is. So I hope these nuggets are helpful. I know that I use them all the time. Please like, share my podcast with everybody, and please continue to send your questions in because I love them, especially 2-part questions. You guys continue to sip and savor, be healthy and be safe, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care.